Hi, I'm Rachel McLeod. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and emotional wellness coach, and I help people do the brain work for resolving symptoms of anxiety, depression, and traumatic stress. And today I want to talk to you about reason number one of why EFT helps, but it doesn't, and tapping, right? Tapping and EFT are very similar, the same thing most of the time. Um, but why it helps, but it doesn't work alone to resolve anxiety, depression, and traumatic stress disorders, right? It really is wonderful for helping with symptoms, really functioning better, feeling better, but it doesn't always help with resolving disorders. And let me tell you why. Because if you know this little shift, you will be able to use your EFT and tapping to resolve your disorder. Um, I really wanted to come out with that title because it's kind of controversial, but I don't want to imply that you can't use EFT to resolve disorders. It's what I use. It's the only thing I use to resolve my disorder, right? And I have plenty of clients that that's the only thing they use. But there is a real defining reason here, and I want you to know it. And so I'm just going to give you fair warning. I have had an allergy attack today, and I'm not certain I'm not going to have another one. So so if I start sneezing and all that stuff, we're just gonna have to wrap it up. But I really wanted to talk about this, and so I'm gonna try to make it quicker. Okay, um, the the big I sidetracked myself, so let me figure out where I was going here. Um, okay, the one this there are so many reasons that people aren't getting the results that they want, and that's really what I want to talk about. It's really why you're not getting the result you want just with tapping. And what happens here is that when we're using emotional freedom techniques, right? It's you're tapping on the side of your hand. Traditionally, emotional freedom techniques has you making these statements. Even though I blank blank blank, you can fill it in. You can say blank blank blank. I know one client of mine that says blah blah blah. Um, and that means anything that she's thinking about. Her brain knows this, so they're working together on that project. But even though whatever problem is happening, I fully and deeply love, honor, and accept myself. And have you tapping here. If you follow along with some of the experts online, I love Brad Yates. I follow him for things, I'm just like, hey, Brad, talk to me about, let's do some tapping about whatever. And so I will do that, especially that, like if I'm stuck, or I'm driving and I just want to do something, right? So you're here, you say the things. Sometimes people repeat this a lot right here, and then they'll start tapping on the points, on the meridian points, and then they're making new statements. Okay, now sometimes people say, well, I don't know what to say. And great, you don't need to know what to say to use tapping effectively to resolve your disorder. What we really want you to do, and this is where it is that whatever you're doing with this works every time on whatever you're working with. But really, what you need to do is develop the skill to position your brain exactly on the thing you want healed and then use tapping. Not use tapping, like if this is the thing you want healed and you're using tapping for all these things, and maybe you're getting a little bit over here, but mostly everywhere else, this doesn't get you enough healing activity in the spot you actually want healed. And that's really the piece of this, is that you get the most result when you can position your brain to do the most healing work, right? We have these disorders because there's all this old stuff, old emotion, old events, old beliefs that have not made it through your brain's natural healing process. So the whole goal here is to get in there and find the stuff that hasn't been processed yet, the old events, the old beliefs, the old emotions, and get that stuff maybe one by one, maybe truckload by truckload through your brain's healing process. I don't care how quickly it happens or how much stuff you get through. Sometimes some brains can only put a little bit at a time through. Other brains can go and grab a bunch and bring it through, process it all at once. Doesn't matter. The thing is that you get the result when you get this stuff processed, right? And so the trick is not EFT. EFT helps your brain do the work that your brain needs to do. The trick is, can you help your brain do the work your brain wants to do? And our brains are telling us all the time, hey, this is the work need done. Hey, this is the work I need done. And many of us do not recognize the communication our brain is sending us and saying very clearly, this is the work. This is what I need processed. This is stuff that this is what I help people do. I hear this all the time. I hear brain saying, this is what I want done. This is why I'm good at what I do, is that I'm hearing people's brains say exactly what they want processed. And the other piece of this that I've learned over time is how to help somebody else hear their brain and how to help somebody else learn how their subconscious mind communicates, right? Because once you can do that, you can work with your subconscious mind to help it accomplish the work it's trying to do. And then you're going to use your tapping. So I used to think that that emotional freedom techniques or any of these things was the missing ingredient, the secret I was missing. I thought it was everybody needed to be tapping. Everybody needed to be doing emotional freedom techniques. What I learn now, what I know now, is that it's the brain that is phenomenal here. The intervention works the same every single time. It helps the brain do the brain's work. But sometimes brains can't get into the places they need to actually process the stuff. That's where all this massive, gorgeous skill comes from. And that's where that comes in, is that we need to have the skill to help position our brains in exactly the right spot to do the healing work. And that is really that's really where the magic happens. Right now you can get on my email list and you will start getting emails from me teaching you interventions. And guess what? That will help you. If you are reading along with my emails telling you how to do this, you can get a lot of work done. But my emails really are talking about positioning you into the place where you can get the healing work done. If you read anything I write, it's constantly about positioning. It's not about the interventions. The interventions, they're out there. I mean, I teach those for free. I'm like, here, try an intervention. See how your brain likes it. Right? Because it's fun to watch your brain actually do what your brain could possibly do. Brains are fantastic at this. But if your brain can't get where it needs to go to do this healing work, and if you don't know how to help your brain get there, it can't get into the places it needs to get in to heal. Right? That's where the massive skill set comes in. The ability to help yourself do the healing work, that's where it's at. Really, and knowing that's why I've developed my 8-part program, is to give people this strategies to position their brain exactly where they need to be positioned based on their own symptoms, right? Your symptoms, my symptoms, everybody's symptoms are very different. They show up in different times, different places. They're very much the same too, right? But my brain and your brain need to be positioned differently to sit on the spot it needs to heal. And like, hey, it's hunker down right here, brain, and let's get this work done. Right? There's skills to keep your brain here. Brain sometimes will bounce out and be like, I'm not going in there. And so there's tricks to get your brain able and to do that work even though it's afraid to do the work. That's a deeper skill. This is the stuff that you invest in and you learn and you practice. The more you practice it, the higher your skill set goes, the more creativity you have, the more you can not just stay on the surface, but that you can go layer by layer. You can jump layers and get in. I've had clients tell me in the first couple of weeks of working with me, they're like, this works better when we're working together. And I'm like, yeah, lots of people say that. But the deal is that I have done this so much that when we're in there, we're like surfing brain waves, right? We're brain neural pathways. And it's like, the brains will give you all this gunk and say, hey, help me process this, but it's a lot of it's just like stuff. And it's like, it's something to be able to recognize, hey, this is important. And then go and you can swing to the next vine. This is important. And you can swing and you can come in here and you can get to that spot right here where the massive issue is with the least amount of pain as possible, another skill, and get that part healed. All this other stuff was just riffraff. Not that important stuff, but we don't always know that because we think everything is important in here, or everything kind of is important, right? But we can really, if we can get to the root issue the fastest, we can position the brain right there to do the healing work there, and then it'll fix all this stuff itself. which means that we're putting in less effort. And when you know how to get in there and help the brain do that work and heal that one issue, it can then go back and do its own healing work. This is one of the reasons why, if you know these skills, you're really able to resolve your whole disorder in 2 to 6 months. It really works that beautifully, and it really is about positioning, and it's about, we want to position for healing, but we also want to position for and lead the brain to build. There's some things that maybe haven't been built yet that need to be built in order for you to have emotional wellness. Like sometimes joy hasn't been built. Sometimes connection with your own self hasn't been built yet, especially in cases where there are families where there are parents that are emotionally or mentally ill or traumatized. And those systems require the child to pay attention to the parent instead of being able to tune into themselves and learn how to their own self works, and so that they can be connected to themselves. Sometimes that hasn't been done yet. That's something we need to build. You can position your brain and help your brain do that so that you have an operating connection with yourself. And it's at the subconscious level so that it's happening well, even if you're not paying attention to it. Okay, that's where that wellness comes in, that where your brain and your body are doing wellness on its own. That's what we want to get your brain to. We want to get your whole system functioning well. We don't want it to need crutches. It's okay if we have crutches. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a time for everything. But we want your system to be able to, we want to heal the broken parts. Like if you break your leg, we want to heal the broken leg. If you bruise something emotionally or break something emotionally, or some system you had that was functioning, like your relaxation muscles in there, if we break those, we want to repair them. We don't want you to have to rely on outside sources to do that, though it's okay to do that for a time. But brains are amazing. They can build these things back in and make them stronger than ever. And there's a skill set for that. So I really want you to understand that EFT and thought field therapy and energy medicine and EMDR are wonderful. But really, what's really more important is that, not more important, because they really go together. I'm not even gonna lie. Your brain really does need extra support in doing the work it needs to do. But you need to have the skills to be able to navigate through all of the symptoms, to be able to navigate through one symptom, to navigate through the heart racing and the throat closing and the arms going numb and the beginning to dissociate, to get to the part where you can position your brain to do the healing work. And that's really what I want to share with you, is that EFT by itself is awesome. It's wonderful. Practice it, learn it, find people that want to teach you, learn it many different ways. Whatever, have a blast with that. Take it as far as you can go, but ultimately, to resolve your disorder, you're going to want to go deeper, and you're going to want to go to the root where your brain needs help to process these things. And a lot of times, other people's words can give you clues, but it can't really take you right where you need to go. But you can learn to do that for yourself, and you can get the support to do that. Right? That's really why I've created my 8-week intensive coaching program. I will walk you through all of that. That's why I developed Inner World Transformation. It's an 8-part process to teach people these skills to do, phenomenal and advanced healing work and advanced ways of positioning the brain to heal itself and to ultimately resolve disorders in anxiety, depression, and trauma disorders in 2 to 3 months. 2 to 6 months. There we go. Something's not right about that. And so that's available as a self-study program. It's a guide. It's a guide that's really created to train you how to look at all these symptoms, how to look at yourself, how to look at your thoughts, your feelings, to know which path do I take? Where are we even going in here? And it's a guide to help you figure out exactly where you're going and to accomplish exactly what you need to accomplish to heal and to resolve your disorder. So look into that if you're interested. And that's on my website at rachelmcleod.com. And I've added the link. And if there are any questions about this, I'm happy to answer anything. I am going to jump off here soon, so definitely post a question now. But we can absolutely chat about this again. If you're watching the rerun of this, the rerun, you can see what decade I'm from. Um, the 1900s when there were reruns. If you're watching the replay of this and you have questions, drop them in here. I will come back and answer them either by typing or I'll go live again. So that's it for me. Yeah, get the skills. They're fun and they really really help you do this work. And a lot of times my clients at in the beginning they're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And they keep going, keep going, keep going, and they master this. They really do. And there's no reason you can't do it. It's your brain. And why not learn how to work with it? And especially, I say this because I believe it. There's no one who hands out these diplomas, but I really think that if you have an anxiety, depression, or trauma disorder, and you do the work to heal it, like you have to have a bachelor's or master's in that disorder by the time you're done. Like for you to have done each layer of the work, you have massive skills. And why not the person you have to walk around with for the rest of your life have those massive skills? So, anyway, just what I think. I'm totally biased in this. I think everyone should have the tools to do their own brain work and heal. So, yeah. Ask any questions. I'll see you around. Take care. Bye.